All right, friends, it is 2:34 p.m. I will call the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order. Little did I know that when I strongly suggested that we meet remotely, that I would have to meet remotely. So, well, be that as it may. And we are recording on sound. Okay,
We are,
so
yes.
all right. So present here at the meeting are Councilman Nathan Martin, Finance Director Brian Crum, Deputy Finance Director Amber Cutlip, Mayor Steve Shagg, Joe Geis, and myself, Garland Gates. So we'll begin as we always do with the financials. Those were sent out about a half hour or so ago. And we'll do our new usual, and we'll go to the back and take a look at income tax collections first. So, Mr. Crum, what do you have to share with us to point out?
All right. Unfortunately, it's not the news that I wanted. The total income tax collections for the year so far are $3,323,746. That brings October's numbers to $312,691. I was really hoping we would bounce back a little bit in October. It seems like because obviously October, that's the extended tax deadline,
Right.
And a lot of times people forget, oh wait, I needed to pay that tax bill in April or July in this case, and they file it with their return. So I was hoping for a strong month in October, and I was kind of hoping that withholding would bounce back. And as we see the breakdown a little bit, it really didn't. It actually got a little worse. And so I've got some emails into some of our employers to figure out how things are going with their withholding, how they are staffing wise, whether they've slowed down their production lines and such. So hopefully I'll have some news on that soon. But yeah, so we are down.
Well, before we go to that page, there's something I noted on the last page where we have the collection year to date and the monthly collection. If we look at the top part, it's the $3,323,000, which is down compared to last year. But which is true, but when that's a comparison to the highest of the 4 previous years. So when you look at the 5 years, what we've collected so far is actually the median.
That's a good point.
At the risk of sounding like Pollyanna, and I don't, because I can be as pessimistic as the next person, and I'd rather be pessimistic and be pleasantly surprised than the other way around. And that's a paraphrase of Ben Franklin. That's not my quote. But again, all the comparisons we've been doing have been to 2019, which was an exceptionally good year. So
that is very true. I am definitely hoping for comparing to the best of the best.
Right. So, again, out of the 5 years, what we've done this year to date is the median. So, and then when you look down below, it's not quite the median, but anyway, it is what it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go to the second page in the packet where we look at the breakdown. Is the individual business and withholding.
Thank you. Yes. So that shows our individual tax at what 479, up 3.71% from last year. And I'm flipping back to last month's financial statement, and we were up 1.26%.
Right.
So we did have a lot of people, file their returns in October and bump that number up, which is great. Businesses, we run in 282,703 for the year, up 2.91%. That's kind of evened out a little more. As of the end of last month, we were up 13%.
Right.
So, but that's a 3% increase on both of those numbers is not bad. Withholding down 7.62%, whereas last month we were down 7.12%. And of course, that's comparing to last year, not necessarily last month. Fourth quarter last year was probably pretty darn good. And so, it may not be that even production lines have slowed or anything from September. It might just be that last year was just really awesome in the fall for a lot of our businesses. That has, makes it look worse. I should, well, yeah, I guess we can compare month to month. Well, I can pull those numbers at some point. I might do that, and I'll send you an email just to see, okay, what was our withholding in September versus what was our withholding in October? See how those two numbers compare.
And what we might do, and this of course makes more work, it's good to compare year to year, but what might also be good is to have a comparison of the current calendar year to, let's say, an average of the previous 3 calendar years.
Mm-hmm.
Again, where we're not looking at, as it is last year, 2019, which was exceptionally good. Of course, on the other hand, we could be comparing to a year that was exceptionally bad, and that then makes this year's figures look great when they're not. So again, looking at an average of the 3, again, that's more work. That's another column you have to insert, but it might be a better comparison than simply comparing one year to another year.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can definitely make those adjustments. Yeah.
Mr. Martin, your thoughts?
I think it's fair to make those adjustments. And then also, when we look at, this is obviously a part of a larger discussion too, but when we look at what quote unquote cuts we need to make, we need to understand that we do have somewhat, and I hate to use this term because I think it's overused and misapplied, but we do have a rainy day, quote unquote, ability, or we'll just say we have room in our general fund to absorb some losses. How's that? And so there's no need to say, there's no need to say we need to do a 7% cut across the board because that's what we're expecting, which I think is legitimate. Don't get me wrong, but there's no need to say we need to do, because we're expecting 7% less revenue, we need to do 7% cut across the board. Because what good, frankly, does having the same balance we have in the general fund at the end of 2020, at the end of 2021, if we had to cut services and lay off people and all this other stuff, that would negatively impact us more than having a general fund, let's say at 200,000 or 150,000. We have to understand historically our general fund has never been this robust. And so, keeping against that norm. So if and this is again a larger discussion, but if we say we are comfortable, Garland and I and the administration, we are comfortable with the general fund that has a balance of, let's say 200,000, just as a number. I'm just pulling a hypothetical.
Sure.
So we say we are comfortable with the general fund that has a balance of 200,000. Okay. And then we do the math of what that delta is against what would be cut from services in the general fund that are paid out of there. Then we come up with, okay, we might need to cut 7% in this area, but in police and fire or things that are coming out of the general fund, we only need to do a 3% or a 2% or whatever that is. So I think that's an important piece to consider. It's very easy. It's very simple to say 7% across the board, but that is completely not in tune with reality of our situation or reality of how we run things.
Yeah, you can compare, what was our general fund revenue in 20, or not general fund revenue, but our income tax in 2020, and what's our estimate for it in 2021. But that ignores what the carryover balance would be in the general fund. So, if you only look at, revenue compared to revenue, it ignores that major part, which is the carryover. So, come the end of December, we'll have a much better idea. At the finance committee meeting in January, we'll have a much better idea of what is going to happen in the general fund. So, well, if there's nothing else about income tax, although I do want to, here compliment the Sarah and Lisa and Gordon for their work in prosecuting cases in Shelby Municipal Court. That's I don't take any joy in that because I would never take joy in a criminal act, but the fact that they are following up and holding people accountable, or I should say it's the judge who's holding people accountable. That is a good thing.
And it has also made a tremendous difference on our income tax revenues as well. I want to say Sarah might have told me it's close to 100,000 that they've gotten back since they started sending people to collections, and that makes up a big hole in our
Yeah.
income tax revenue.
Yeah. Now you said sending them to collections.
Or, I'm sorry, by going through the process to
taking them to court.
Yeah, my apologies. That's
okay. All right. I just want to make sure that we weren't really sending people to collections. So,
no, we're not.
That's what Sarah and Lisa are. They're
exactly right.
Collection people. Well, they're paying their back taxes. Plus, I would certainly hope any penalties and interest. Plus, they're paying the costs and any fines levied by the judge. So, we get, dare I say, that's a little icing on the cake. Thank you, Judge Studer.
That's very true.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the page 1, the combined financial statement.
Okay. And as has been the case for most of the year, the drop in revenues has really been offset by some careful planning on the expense side of things by many people in the city, and I appreciate that. Our cash balance in the general fund is $1,021,393. After encumbrances, it's still $881,000, almost $882,000. We're up almost $92,000 in cash from the beginning of the year. So it's, that's fabulous. I'm really shocked that everybody's been able to make that happen with all of the craziness that has happened this year. So we've had 86% of our income come in, about 70% of expenses in the general fund, which has made that happen. The street fund, as with really all of the paving projects, they all have healthy balances, some slight encumbrances still. I think you go down to the 353 fund with the encumbered balance of 329,000. That check I think has been paid now. We definitely processed that invoice here in the last week. So all those paving projects, they're starting to wrap up now, and we'll get those paid. But all those funds have healthy balances. The health fund still has a healthy balance, almost 369 in cash, 343 after encumbrances. Once again, that fund is up for the year as well as from last year. Park fund is also really healthy with 129,000 in cash, almost 94,000 after encumbrances. They're moving right along, winterizing and everything. I think they are this month. They just are going to purchase a new tractor from a Cub Cadet from MTD here. So they
Of
are.
course.
Yes, that's right. So they're very excited about that.
Go with the one what brung you.
Exactly. Not too much notable through the 200s. Our coronavirus relief fund had at the end of October 480,000 in cash, 261,000 after encumbrances. We have been working feverishly to get rid of the rest of those funds because
Bad adverb.
You're right. That is poor. To appropriately spend those monies.
Says the person who's taking his temperature twice a day.
Yeah, that's right. And those funds will actually, legislation coming to council this week will encumber the rest of those funds. So that will be going down here shortly. Moving on down, the sewer fund has 255,000 in cash. After encumbrances, it's still just shy of 200,000. That's down for the year about 95,000, but I know John's keeping a close eye on that, and I think it's a little better than it's been at other parts of the year. The water fund.
Mayor, maybe you know this. Patty and I were out, went to Fowler Woods hiking the other day and passed the Noble Road landfill. Are they bringing their leachate to us now again?
I do not have that answer. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
I knew there was a suspension of it for a while because I think it's
Right.
some level.
Well,
I know the answer. We are collecting it again.
oh, good.
Thank you, Amber.
Yes.
Well, I
Yeah,
knew
you
that
would know from the revenue stream, wouldn't you?
it had been suspended during the construction after that incident we had. And so, okay, good. Amber, thank you.
Let's see. Water fund is also, it's kicking back up. It's at 270,000 after encumbrances, just shy of 130, but we are up almost 73,000 for the year. So kudos to them for bouncing that up. Electric is also still very healthy with 5,934,000 in cash, 4,600,000-ish after encumbrances. So that one's doing fine. The only other really notable thing I've got here is the hospitalization. It's at 675,000, which is up 277,000 for the year. I know that Amber's been in discussion with them, and a partial month pass on payment is definitely a possibility, which could really help us out next year as we navigate what we're going to do. So that kind of
and that would help all funds that have employees who are covered by the health insurance.
Yeah, so that's fabulous. It's amazing to me how there's so many little things that can make up for a dip in our income tax revenue, and kudos to everybody for finding those things. Overall totals, we have a cash balance of 15,029,503 in the bank. We started the year at 14,426,000. So that's a $600,000 gain for the year through all of the funds. So well done, everyone. That's about all I have for the first page, unless anybody has some questions.
Well, just that we're at 83% of the year. So there's the figure we can use for the quick and dirty comparisons.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
All right, if there's nothing on page one, let's move on.
All right. Page 2, total budget. Well, we kind of just spoke about that. up 600,000. General fund, we're up 91,000 for the year. The middle of the page, the revenue streams, you'll see into the general fund. Really, the most notable one there is the income tax transfers down about 73,000, but we've definitely made up for that in other ways. Wage expenditures up 2.12%, which is really right where it should be compared to last year. Capital improvements, we've spent a little more in capital improvements than we brought in, but that was all planned as part of appropriations. Police court is a healthy balance. It's increasing funds. And we already spoke about the income tax portion of that page.
One thing I wanted to mention about the income tax is, of course, that municipalities lost at the Ohio Supreme Court. They ruled in favor of the legislature. It was interesting. I just looked at the end of the ruling, and all 7 justices seemed to either they were part of the majority or they concurred with the majority. There was one justice who concurred in part and objected in part, but again, all 7 of them upheld the legislature in its action, with the exception that the state cannot charge the 5% fee that they were levying against cities. Now, I don't know whether that is to be, you know, I don't know that we were necessarily suing for damages, you know, to get that back. So I don't know how that's going to work, but you know, it was somewhat the bone that was tossed to us that you know, we're gonna you know, no, you can't. The state was right, but we're gonna give you this 5% back. Of course, we're happy for 5%. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have it than not. But if I had time, I'd read through the whole thing and see that the Supreme Court hung its hat on a hook that is not the Article 18 of the Constitution, the home rule powers. So, but you know, there's no sense whining about it. It has happened. We fought. You know, I'm sure we fought the good fight, but well, anything else on my part would just be speculation. So, but you know, we do need to note that we lost. So, okay.
Okay, next page shows utilities. We kind of spoke about these numbers on the first page. I don't really have anything notable to speak of there that we haven't already covered. All fund expenditures, wages are up 2.4%, which is not surprising. Hospitalization is up 7.9%. You know, but once again, that's all stays in our hospitalization fund, which, you know, hopefully that remains healthy with the rash of expansion of COVID-19 cases here of late. We've been, knock on wood, very lucky in our hospitalization fund, and I'm praying it stays that way, because we could really use a half month reprieve next year.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much else really notable. I guess total the transfers out of the income tax fund were down about 114,000 for the year. That just, it is what it is. We don't want to beat it to death. Refunds are only 37,000 compared to 62,000 last year. So that's a nice little bonus, I suppose. That's about it I have for that page. The next page lists all of our bank accounts. It's, you know, our general account at PNC is 4.5 million. The electric fund at US Bank is almost 2.9 million. A slew of other smaller checking accounts, and then of course all of our investments at the top. You'll see the 3 bonds there. We are in November going to be adding a US Treasuries bond to that list. We're gonna go in a small bond there.
What's it paying?
Amber, do you recall right offhand?
Yeah, it's 10 basis points, which is not good. However, as my investment person at PNC told me, this is probably the first time ever that the US Treasury bonds have actually paid more than a CD. So it's a short-term investment, it's, I believe a year. We did have 2 of these 250s up here matured like within days of each other, and 500,000 is the minimum for US Treasury, I think he said. So we took those and, put them in that, I guess, just because it's better than nothing. And we didn't see that we'd need, but the other investments being diversified, we didn't see we needed that.
That's faint praise to say it's better than nothing.
And every bank, though, none of them have good news when it comes to interest rates.
No.
That's what it is. So we have diversified a little bit this year just to get something. So.
Okay. And that was taken out of those CDs there, the $250,000.
Right. 2 of those are going to be combined into one Treasury bond. So we'll see. Well, 2 of those will go away next month and replaced with 500,000 Treasury bond for November.
Well, it's good to look at, the options that are available. So that, and our options are few and far between, but, having bought other subdivisions paper and getting treasury bonds, that just about covers everything that's available to us.
True.
We're trying. Kudos to Amber for making all of those things happen. That's about all I have for that page. The next page is just the Sutter Roush funds. They're kind of hanging steady there, 185,000 in total. Had a few repair bills to the lift in the building beside the room, but nothing too substantial.
Okay.
And then the last page is the income tax stuff that we covered earlier.
Okay. Well, is there anything else from the finance department?
Nothing I can really think of.
Okay. Well, we'll jump on to personnel. Mayor, what do you have to share with us? Mayor, you're on mute.
Oh, that works better. Okay. Miss Ellenberger has been out of the office here. I believe it's been a week and a half or more. She'll be coming back Monday. But in the meantime, we have engaged the services of Richmond Public Health to take care of our new cases of COVID-19 and also the tracing. They're doing all of that on behalf of the city. Of course, all those numbers go into the county numbers when they upload those to the state. So hopefully Monday, planning on to have Ms. Ellenberger back and get back to our normal taking over those cases. We believe we will probably bring in some some trained volunteers to help with the tracing. There's going to be probably a good number there. We want to take that load off of her. So I spoke with Rick Evans of Richmond County Emergency Management. Yeah. What's my EMA? What is that? What's the last word? Emergency Management Agency. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's going to help us line up. So we should be able to get things going again with that.
Very good.
Yeah. So as far as the negotiations, I probably would rather speak in executive session in that regard.
Sure.
How are we going to pull that off Monday? does everybody else leave that room if you're both gone? Mr. McLaughlin as well will not be able to attend in person. So he's going to have to attend by phone as well. So we just maybe have everybody clear that room so we could speak in that in executive session, you think?
That would work.
I
You
think
know,
that's probably the
there's-
only way to make it.
Yeah, so,
Okay, so that's what we'll do. So I would like to give that update in executive session, if I could, please. I think, Amber, can you think of anything else personnel wise? I think it's about,
No, our new firefighter started. He's working out good from what I hear.
mhm.
New police officers working out great too. So things are moving along with the new hires as far as I'm aware.
That's good. That's right. Thank you.
okay. Brian, you'll include the executive session under miscellaneous on the agenda? Okay. Mayor, if you can then, thinking of the audit and the IT recommendations that were part of that audit, if you can give us an update as to what you've been able to do and with
Right.
that, so.
All right. Very good.
Well, that's we've zipped through this very quickly. I can't think of anything else. Brian, you had sent out an email asking for sponsors for legislation for Monday evening. I don't, Nathan, if you had seen that and had responded, I know I said I would sponsor, so.
Yes, Nathan and Steve McLaughlin also sponsored all of those.
Okay.
Thank you very much, all of you.
I can't think of anything else. If there's nothing else, Nathan, do you have anything else for the meeting today?
I don't, thank you.
Okay. No one else? All right, we are adjourned at 3:06 p.m. I'll see everyone Monday night then.
I like it. Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Joe.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Happy day.